All right. Welcome everyone to the live stream, and I want to give a special welcome. We got Mondo in the building. What's up? How's it going, man?
I'm doing great. Actually, hold on. Did you post the live
Oh,
stream
hold on,
so
hold
I
on.
can
Let me do that. 1 second.
say hi to the chat?
Of course. All right. Here's a live stream, and all right, let me post that. Share the spaces. All right, so it should be up now. Yep, it's up. You can see it.
Not yet. Let me see. Yep.
It's a slight delay. Sometimes there's a slight delay to come up.
Yeah.
There we go. I see it now.
Not yet here. Well, I'm gonna wait, but
Okay.
uh, okay. So we can go on. There you go. Now I can see.
Got it.
His long search for
Now I
Siri
can
led
see.
Geralt to
Okay.
conclude that Uma,
So
the youngest man alive and the victim of a curse, was the
let
key
me
to
lower the
finding the young
volume.
woman.
So what I was telling you is that on my daily job, I
Mhm.
work with vintage comic books in Metropolis and Comic Connect.
Mhm.
But then before working there, I was creating. Oh Jesus Christ! I hear the feedback. Um,
Oh, from the game. Oh, from you
yeah,
talking.
no, but don't worry, it's fine.
Mhm.
So what I used to do was to create content for different YouTube channels as a ghostwriter.
Mhm.
Because when you have YouTube channels, because of the algorithm, the more you grow, the more the algorithm
Someone
asks
dragged
you
across the
to
deck.
pump more content.
Snorkel ship
Otherwise,
suddenly tipped to
you're
one
not
side.
relevant anymore, and then
Mhm.
YouTube doesn't push your content in front of new eyeballs.
Mhm.
So you get to a point that you run out of ideas.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter if you're talking about film or gaming or gardening. It really doesn't matter. At some point, you're gonna say, "What the hell am I gonna talk about?"
Yeah.
And I'm talking about just evergreen content,
Mhm.
not uh, because you have a lot of commentary channels, and those channels rely on the news or what is going on. Like, for example, now what is going on with Doctor Disrespect, the
I
streamer.
know. That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's insane.
Yeah.
So you have everyday content, and you can put out at least a couple of videos a day, but those videos have a lifespan of maybe 48 hours, and then
I
they
know what
die.
this means.
Mhm.
So I used to create content as a like a ghostwriter. So basically, we used to produce these videos for different channels.
Mhm.
Uh, so that's what I did for a really really long time until I started working Metropolis.
Mhm.
But at some point,
Elemental empires.
uh,
I
I
cannot
felt the
test
need to
them.
go back because what I
I've made a
love is
mistake.
to create content.
Mhm.
And I still do it in Metropolis, but it's different because you have to always stay like within specific guidelines. In this case, you have to talk or most of the time talk about comic books.
Mhm.
So I love comic book. I love pop culture in general, but I I love to talk about other topics. So
Yeah.
uh, and now that I have more time, I reactivated my production company,
Mhm.
and because my girlfriend, she's a film teacher, and also she's a filmmaker, so I'm distributing her films. I'm distributing other indie films, and also we are producing our own
Read
content.
the tea.
So we're making short films, documentaries, films, podcast, and at some point next year we're gonna get into gaming.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're gonna start producing video games. So right now what we're doing, we have a podcast. where we
Mm-hmm.
talk about film and television and web series.
Mm-hmm.
And in the next couple of weeks, we're going to go live with a dedicated horror network. So it's going to be just horror, film, television, and video games. So we're going to have one podcast audio and then YouTube, and then live streams on YouTube with video games. So that's what we're going to do. Uh,
So
and then,
is this gonna be kind of
yeah,
like reviews and like coverage of certain things or?
yeah. So the evergreen content is going to be like basically we're going to be dissecting different. There are so many horror films
Mm-hmm.
that you have never-ending content for like years to come. Now you have so many different horror channels that at the end of the day they all talk about the same films. Now everything depends on who is creating the content because you have 10 channels talking about I don't know, Terrifier, but depending on who's hosting the video, you're going to have different takes, and that's what uh, makes the channel unique.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, you will always find your own audience, and they're going to stick with you, and you cannot expect that everyone is going to like you, and that's normal. That's life. But
Yeah.
once you find your audience, then you can just start putting out videos. And so we're going to start talking and dissecting different films from the filmmaking perspective
Mm-hmm.
and also from the nostalgia perspective. And then we have a third person that is going to join us, and she works with me at Metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing is that she's a makeup artist, like a special effects makeup artist.
Mm-hmm.
So she makes horror makeup. So she's
Mm-hmm.
going to be joining us and she's going to be analyzing all the practical effects. And also, she's going to do tutorials and she's going to teach people how to do like, especially like makeups at
Mm-hmm.
home and things like that.
That's gonna be
So
really
that's that.
interesting.
It's cool, but it's just because that's the thing that I've loved the most since I was a kid. I've been always fascinated by special effects
Mm-hmm.
and horror, so that's why we're getting into that, and I'm gonna add the video games because that's my passion. So
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be just I'm going super niche because that's what I learned before working at Metropolis. The more niche you go,
Mm-hmm.
the stronger your audience is going to be. So if
That's
you live
true because
stream
they're like
only,
passionate, right? Like
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So you have I don't know the Minecraft live
Mm-hmm.
streamers. You have the horror live streamers. You have the speedrunners. So I picked horror. It's super niche, and I'm gonna stay there. And the good thing is that you have
Mm-hmm.
so many indie horror games uh, that most of the time are even free to play.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened with this horror game that was based on Dora the Explorer. I cannot remember who was the first one to live stream. I think it was Markiplier.
Okay.
Uh, so there's this website called it's not Itch.io. Well, it's an indie video games website where you can just upload your game and people can play your games for free, like
Mm-hmm.
web based.
Okay.
So that's where a lot of live streamers go and they try to get like the newest games and they live stream them. And then all these games like began super huge. That's what
Mm-hmm.
happened with this horror game based on Dora Explorer. Um, so that's what we're gonna do. And then with video games, that's been something that I've been willing to do for decades now.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to make video games, you need to have a team. You don't need a big team, but I'm not talking about AAA games at
Mm-hmm.
all. I just want to make something like simple 2D platformer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, some indie.
but
I mean, indie games have been doing amazing anyway. Like,
yeah,
as far as just even just the reception of a lot of these indie games that have been putting together just amazing passion projects.
Yeah, yeah. I just love, and I think in the last 5 years I've been only buying indie games,
Yeah,
and
same.
also now I've been getting retro games. I mean, I collect retro games, but now new games released for the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, the Game Boy. And the good thing is that I don't know if you know this company called Analog, that they've been releasing like modern versions of the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, the Game Boy, and you can play
Like
all.
emulators?
No, 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 no. These are like real hardware. These are not
Oh, okay.
emulators. So they released the Super Nintendo. Uh, it looks like it looks like the Super Nintendo, but it's like a modern version,
Okay.
and you can play your own cartridges. But this new version of the Super Nintendo, it doesn't run on emulators. It's all they replicated the hardware
Oh, wow.
of
Okay.
the Super Nintendo. So because I used to play with all these like different consoles that used to emulate the cartridges,
Mhm.
but you sometimes you had like a small percentage of games that you weren't able to play them. But in these consoles, you can play like 99% of your games, and it's just insane. The first console that they released was the NES,
Mhm.
and they released this NES version in aluminum, and it was
Mhm.
like $600, and people went nuts
Mhm.
because it was the first time you were going to be able to play the NES games
Mhm.
in through
In HD.
HDMI.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it went crazy, and a lot of people say this company is going to end up like going to hell because they're selling like this console that is super expensive. Why am I going to spend $600 if I can pay like $400 for a PS5 or PS4?
Yeah, yeah.
So no, but they were sold out, and then like
And then
people thought
Nintendo
that there
started
were.
releasing them officially, right? Like, cause didn't they release like the retro gaming systems?
Yeah, but those are the mini versions,
Mhm.
and you have the games preloaded on the console.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah. It wasn't. Mhm.
so what happened with me is that I had all the old consoles. I had them all, but the issue is that you had to buy an upscaler and then connect it to your television. It was a pain in the ass to play the old games.
Mhm.
So at some point, because I had a really big storage unit and I was bleeding money to have all this stuff inside the storage unit, so I started selling all my collection. I kept the games, but I sold the consoles.
Mm.
And then at some point, I was like, I have the games, I cannot play them. I'm going to start selling them. And that's when I found Analog. And then Analog has been put in, so far, they have released the NES, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, the Game Boy, and now they released the Duo. The Duo is the newer version of the Turbo Graphics.
Okay.
So so now you can play all those old games in newer consoles, and I think they're gonna be they're gonna start releasing the newer versions for the PlayStation One, PlayStation Two. Um, so yeah, and Atari just released the Atari 2600, the newer version, where you can play the old cartridges. So it's really cool. Actually, you can live stream with those consoles, and it looks amazing.
Yeah. I have to see it. I have to see what it looks like. So on the show? Are you gonna be like showcasing any of that?
Yeah, I'm gonna. That's another thing. I've been collecting so many things throughout my life, and everything is in boxes in the storage unit.
Mhm.
And for me, it's more about the history behind the objects than just flexing. Hey, I have this. I really don't care about that. This is a conversation that I have almost every week at work, because since you have collectors that they collect because they want to make a profit, which is perfectly fine. but they buy something and they wait and then they flip whatever they bought and then they make the profit. But then you have people buying stuff because of nostalgia. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my case. And I really don't care about making money. I just want to keep the stuff until I don't have more money to pay for the storage unit.
Yeah.
But when you show your collection, basically you are showing your life. We like I've run into many. I collect the GI Joe figures,
Mm-hmm.
so I've run into many collectors of GI Joes. But you have collectors that love video games, but then you have others that do not like video games and they like sports. So when they show you their collections, it's like basically showing you their whole life, and it's fascinating because you start learning about so many things that you had no idea existed. So uh, my ex-wife actually, she was coming back from Maine. That's where her dad lives. And when I was married to her, her dad gave me a Macintosh, like the first Macintosh computer,
Mm-hmm.
but I never brought it to New York. So now that she went there, she brought it to New York. So that's the latest computer that I'm gonna add to my collection.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because at some point I'm willing. I mean, hopefully I'm gonna be able to move to a like a house outside New York
Mm-hmm.
and then put all the computers. For me, just sitting in front of the like old computer and play the games and do all the stuff that I used to do when I was a kid, it's like priceless. So yeah, I wanna show all that stuff and videos and
Mm-hmm.
like the toys, computers, synthesizers, skateboards, like all the crap that I've been collecting all my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like and it's almost kind of like taking a time capsule and opening back up, especially when it comes to gaming, right? Because like with gaming, you're kind of like in this world, and it's immersive, and I didn't really kind of like understand this until I got older, right? Because as you're younger and you're playing it and you're just experiencing it, you're having fun. But as you get older and these stories, you want to revisit them, or just even just different points that you were at your life at that time, and you want to kind of, I guess, in a sense, have that feeling. You find yourself going back to it and even collecting it. And I think like for me, like with Vivi, that kind of like was what turbocharged that love. But even before
Yeah,
that, like before I realized I was a collector, like I look around and I'm like, yo, I was, because a lot of the stuff that I love, I started collecting, like whether it be Dragon Ball stuff, because I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, so like the
hmm
DVDs and Blu-rays, but also whatchamacallit, video games. So when the Switch came out, and one thing that I really like about the Nintendo Switch is it has so much old stuff on it, like all on one
yeah,
console. And I noticed myself, I was just kept buying all of these different games that were just brought me back to my childhood. You know, the SNES games, the re-releases. They re-released Sonic. Like Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Sonic CD, but under Whitehead with the
yeah.
wide screen. And yeah, just running through those games again, I'm like, it just took me back, and I find myself, kind of like just collecting them. So hearing you say that is kind of like I definitely understand, because I've been doing the same thing, especially since this generation of gaming. I think it probably started with the Switch, with the Nintendo Switch.
The
Yeah.
Switch is insane because I, I cannot remember when I got the Switch, but it was the first release of the Switch.
Mhm.
And the older you get, the less time you have to play games. So I moved into, I'm going to call it mobile. I'm not talking about cell phones. I'm just talking about like the Nintendo Switch or
Mhm.
the Steam Deck.
Mhm.
Um, but it's fascinating how many games, like every single week, are being released for the Nintendo Switch, and then you have all
Mm-hmm.
these like boutique companies like Limited Run, Special Reserve Games, putting out physical releases.
Mm-hmm.
So because for me, I'm a like a physical media guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just terrified that one day the
Everything
show
would
that I love
disappear.
is gonna disappear, or
Yeah.
the video game is gonna disappear. And actually, it had happened, like with many games that I
Mm-hmm.
had in my PlayStation account.
It
Like one
happens.
day, gone.
It happens today. Even I mean, I don't know if you follow it, but like Ubisoft is going through a thing with the crew,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
they got
yeah.
rid of that game, and now people are up in arms about it.
Yeah,
So
no, it's crazy. So I would rather have the physical games and just be sure that I'm gonna have them. So that's what happened with Limited Run,
mm-hmm.
and Limited Run had a like a they call them sales. Actually, they're not sales. They sell everything like full price. But what they do is, for example, they make I don't know, the Doom Classics games,
Mm-hmm.
and they make I don't know 3,000 copies, and they put out for sale 1,000 copies. Then they put away 1,000 copies, and the other 1,000 they put them on eBay
Mm-hmm.
under a different account. So people will pump up the prices and they make more money, and then they wait around 1 year and they say, "Hey, we're gonna have this warehouse sale," which is not a sale, but they say, "We found these boxes with these games," and they put the other 1,000 Doom classics out, and then you end up paying full price.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's clever. I do not agree, but for example, I missed Doom classics when they released it. I think a year or a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a month ago they made one of these warehouse sales, and I bought all the games: Narita Boy, Doom Classics, and something else. I bought. I can't remember, um, but for the Nintendo Switch, I have like in cartridges, I have like I don't know how many games. Most of those games are old. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, old re-releases,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck it's all digital. So I play all the PC games on the Steam Deck, and then everything else on the Nintendo Switch. But like
Mm-hmm.
I have all the analog consoles, but just because I don't have enough time, when I go to bed, I just fire up the Switch or the Steam Deck, and I just play there in bed, and then
Yeah.
I go to sleep.
It's funny. It's funny you say that with like the insurgence of handhelds. You know what I'm playing this on? What I'm playing Witcher 3 on?
On the Steam Deck? No,
No.
hold on the Switch.
No, I'm playing this. No, definitely would not look this good on the Switch. I'm playing this
Yeah,
on the Asus ROG Ally. It's like a handheld PC.
really? Yeah, 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 I
Yeah.
know the Asus.
So I switched over to PC once I got this, and I've been in love. I don't know if I'm ever gonna buy another console. Maybe Nintendo because Nintendo games are very like, um,
They're exclusive
they're yeah they're
for
very
their consoles. Yeah.
yeah, they're very exclusive. But for everything else, I mean, I've been buying off Steam, and one thing that I like it is like with these Steam games. I mean, I hope, but I assume that they're gonna be following me. No matter how many times I upgrade my PC or move on to a new PC or a higher graphics card or what have you. So I think I've honestly been locked in as a PC gamer at this point.
Yeah, PC, and also you have so many games on
Hmm.
Steam. You get so many real sales, like games for nothing, for like
Hmm.
$2.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love. I wasn't a PC gamer until I got the Steam Deck, and I
Hmm.
bought the Steam Deck just because the Nintendo Switch doesn't have a lot of games that are on Steam, especially those indie games that I wanted to play.
Yeah.
And I love Half-Life, and
Hmm.
Half-Life wasn't available on the Nintendo Switch, so I had to get the I have a gaming PC. The thing is, I use the gaming PC for editing, and
Hmm.
I do not like to use. like the computer that I use for work for gaming,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have room to get up like another gaming PC. So hopefully when I'll move to a bigger place, I'm gonna get like a gaming PC. But as of now, I'm gonna be live streaming with the Steam Deck. The horror
Okay.
games are gonna be live streamed on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, what you can do with a lot of these handhelds is really ridiculous. Like I said, not only am I playing on it, I'm also live streaming on it. I'm running the space on it. Like literally everything is done on this little Asus handheld.
Yeah,
Um,
they're fantastic. And also, it's insane how much money gaming is making right now.
mhm,
Actually, I don't know how many X's like 10x or 20x is gaming is doing compared to, I'm gonna call it Hollywood, but it's basically film on television.
mhm,
So that's why everyone, and I'm sure you've noticed that now we have more streaming shows tied to different video game IPs.
mhm,
Fallout, The Last of Us. Now we're gonna have a Shinobi one. Well, we had Mortal Kombat, but uh, it is fascinating, and now studios are trying to capture the video game audience. So we'll see what is going to happen. But for me, the best entertainment is it's gaming by far, because basically it's like a TV show that you can actually interact with.
interact with. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And it's so funny because I remember a time where, it was like almost a joke every time Hollywood made a video game movie. And now, they're coming out with so much quality content, based off of video games, showing people that, like you said, the storylines are in depth, the storylines are profound. And now people are starting to get to see it, with like The Last of Us and with Fallout. So, that's gonna be interesting. So
yeah.
tell.
Do you?
Mhm.
No, tell me. Go ahead. Go.
Uh, I was gonna switch gears a little bit about you, but if you had something to comment on,
No, no,
let's
no,
go.
no, no. I was going to ask you something about Fallout, but no, it doesn't matter. It was just like a silly question. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, cause I want to know more. So you are still with Metropolis, right? But you're doing this as extra.
yeah. So as I told you, I need like a creative outlet
Mhm.
uh, to do all these like crazy things that I cannot do at work.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm doing this like in my extra time, weekends or now at night after work. But no, at Metropolis, I'm the vice president of Metropolis and Comic Connect, and
Mhm.
I'm the CEO of QES, which is Quality Evaluation Service,
Mhm.
which is going to be a new grading company for
Okay.
comic books.
Okay. So I
So
have to tell you, right, because I was telling you a little bit about the comic shop that we run, but
yeah,
I'm actually kind of new to the whole like comic experience as far as reading them. Like I've read manga, I've read graphic novels, but I've never really got into serialized comic books.
yeah,
And this show is kind of like what got me into it as we're reviewing it. So it's been really interesting, like this journey and kind of like starting it and seeing uh, how these comics play out. That isn't so like self-contained like a graphic novel. Um, I think you'll enjoy the show because I am heavy into like storytelling on a whole, right? Um, so we kind of like dissect it that way too. So yeah, but it's
yeah.
been interesting. Mhm.
As I told you, I'm going to be on Thursday on the show, and
Mhm.
for me, this is the way I see comic books.
Mhm.
Just because I'm basically a filmmaker and I tell stories visually,
Mhm.
comic books are storyboards.
Mhm.
That's what they are, and that's why it's so easy to adapt a comic book into a film or a TV show, because you have half of the work already done. So
Mhm.
you have to develop better the script because you don't have much dialogue or text on a comic book,
Mm-hmm.
but everything else is there. So
Yeah.
it's like Sin City, Frank Miller's Sin City. The film adaptation was basically a copy and paste of the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's the way I see comic books now. I have a specific type of books that I read and that I collect. I'm not like a huge Golden Age or Silver Age. I'm more like Bronze Age and Iron Age, which is now.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to look for like more niche books and I collect some classics, but super specific. I love Alan Moore, so I have most of his work. I have Swamp Thing, I have Miracle Man, and I have Watchmen. And then he released a lot of other titles under the Avatar Press publishing company, but those are more like a super crude and gore.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? Well, Frank Miller, the Daredevil Frank Miller run.
Oh, nice.
Uh, I love that run. For me, it's like the best Daredevil run. And then Garth Ennis, which is Preacher.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I watched first the TV show. I had no idea about that book, and I watched the TV show, and I got the comic books, and they're much better. And it's the same thing that happened with The Boys. So I
Mm-hmm.
read the books first, and then I watched the show. The show is like kind of like different than the books. The books are much better than the
Mm-hmm.
TV show. The show is fun, but I think the books are much better. And then the Umbrella Academy, I read those books before the show.
Wait. So you're
Uh,
saying the boy there's the boys is based off of books?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
But
It's based on a comic book.
oh, I thought it was like just an original show. Now I have to read
No,
these.
no,
Okay.
no. They are so good. They are much better. Garth Ennis is the same guy
Mm-hmm.
that wrote Preacher. So he's an Irish writer, and he's crazy. He's
Mm-hmm.
insane. The stories that he tells are insane. So and he hates superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
He hates them. So that's the reason why if you watch the show or if you read the books, you're going to see another deconstruction of the superheroes, which Alan Moore was the one that started the deconstruction of the
Mm-hmm.
superheroes with Miracle Man. So he was the one that wrote the new run of Miracle Man
Mm-hmm.
back in the 80s. And he was like, what if I take a superhero and I make this superhero human with the human flaws and all the bad things that we have?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the whole deconstruction movement started. So now, and actually, I wrote an article on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like talking about like, uh, do we need good superheroes again? Because in the last 15 years, the only thing we've been getting are like these crazy bad, like anti-heroes.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all these like super dark films and TV shows. But if you go back to the 70s, 1978, with the Superman film, you're gonna see that it was super hopeful and colorful and happy. And now it's everything like super dark. So I mean, you're gonna have people that love the deconstruction of superheroes. You're gonna have
Mm-hmm.
people that miss like the good Batman, the good Superman, the good like. So I don't know, but what I can tell you is that the book and the TV show, the boys, they are like really good. They're really fun. Now there's some kind of controversy with the fourth season of the boys
What is
because
does
they
it
are saying
deviate? Does it deviate from the comics?
no, yeah, it's different than the comic books, but they're saying that they're portraying one political party in Homelander, um, a specific ex-president of the United States as
Mm-hmm.
Homelander. So they are trying to make him look bad and whatever, and criticizing that political party.
Mhm.
But the showrunner basically says, listen, if you don't want to watch it, just don't watch it. I do not agree with that position because you're not gonna
Mhm.
hear Target saying if you do not like what we sell, don't come to our stores. But whatever, I mean, it's up to them. But everything depends on how you interpret the TV show. Uh, as long as I have fun and I disconnect myself from like the work and all the like personal stuff, I'm good with the show. So I've watched all the new episodes from season number 4, and
Mhm.
I've liked them so far. So
Yeah.
we'll see what's going to happen. But there's other people that say no, it's too political. They're trying to go against this political party, but like whatever. I don't know. Like now everything is political, so well
Mhm.
we'll, we'll see. I don't know. But it's a really good show. So you have that one, you have The Boys, you have Umbrella Academy, you have Preacher. Uh what else? What else? What else? What else? Jupiter, I forgot the name. Jupiter Rising. Uh, I forgot,
Mhm.
but those are really really good shows based on comic. Then the Swamp Thing TV show that was released. I think it was in the early 2000s, and it's free on Tubi, so
Mhm.
you can watch it there. Tubi has so many good shows and
Really,
films.
I never really looked at Tubi too much. Like, I
It's
mean, I
and
see it
right
all the time,
now
but I've never.
it's insane. It's insane the amount of content you have, and it's really good content, and they're putting out
Mhm.
original content. But everything's Sony because Tubi's Sony,
Mhm.
so everything's Sony. It's there. And now I don't know why. I think it was like 2 months ago they started putting like most of DC's films.
Oh,
So
really?
you have the animated films and you have the live action films.
Okay.
So and it's free. So it's really good. Swamp Thing, it's in there. That's a show that I love, 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 love. Just because I love the Alan Moore Swamp Thing run.
Mhm.
Uh, and what else? I got this is a comic book that I had no idea it existed. So a coworker, he grabbed because we buy collections, and sometimes we get consignments. So people consign their collections for us to auction, or
Mhm.
sometimes we buy like big collections of comic books. So, for example, if we buy 50 long boxes full of comic books,
Mhm.
so then we have to go through every single comic book, and there are books that actually we cannot sell because they are either too new. Uh, so we put those books on the side and we either sell them
His
like in
song says
bulk
the
to
Syrian
other
had come
companies.
to lose the
Mhm.
Roma, the
So
envious man
so
alive
this
and the victim
coworker,
of the
he was
curse,
going through a
sent the
collection
knight to
and
find
he
the
showed
missing
me
one.
actually a brand new Batman book.
Mhm.
So he was like, "Have you seen this book?" And I was like, "No." "Do you know what's going on inside?" And I was like, "No." So he starts flipping the pages, and then he gets to the centerfold and he says, "What do you see? Like what's weird here?" And I started going through the panels, and I was like, "I have no idea." He was like, "It's the first appearance of," and I was like, "Of what?" And he was like, "Of Batman's dick." And it's the first time you can see. I swear to
Yo,
God,
that's
it's
wild.
Batman Damned,
Uh-huh.
and it's the first time that they showed Bruce Wayne naked, like
Uh-huh.
fully naked. But it's like it's kind
And
of like
and
covered in shadows,
uh-huh.
but you can see his dick. So basically, it's in there. So
That's wild.
so the funny thing is that DC recalled that book.
Mhm.
So it was on stores like I don't know for how long. They recalled the book and they reprinted it censored. So
Mhm.
now, if you want to get that copy, it's extremely expensive. Just because it's his first appearance of Bruce Wayne's thingy. So it's really funny. Those are the kind of things like weird. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is gonna be something that at some point it's gonna be interesting to have. So I found because that run was like a 3 issues run, and then they
Mm-hmm.
released a trade paperback with the 3 issues. So I found issue number one, which was the one that was recalled, and I bought it. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the kind of things that I run at work with, like obscure, not obscure, but these like crazy things that only like super like knowledgeable comic book people know.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another fun thing that I got comic book wise. The story is
Okay.
really good, actually. Forget about what I just told you, but the story
Uh-huh.
is really good, and the art is beautiful. It's
Okay.
really beautiful.
All right. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting what you come across, and like I said, like with me, kind of like starting my whole comic book collection journey and stuff like that. As far as like with like these serialized comics and everything. Um, yeah, it's just been amazing. And kind of like addicting too.
What do you like the most within comic books? What do you like to read more? Superheroes, mystery, because you have so many different genres within
Mm-hmm.
comic books.
Yeah, I tend to gravitate more towards darker things, right? So like I said, like I started out with like graphic novels, and some of the things were the things that I wanted to read the most. So Batman Long Halloween. I fell in love with the the Hush graphic novel. I also like manga because I like anime. So
Yeah,
I do like a lot of like more darker and thriller type of things. Um, so in any time, even when it comes to the superhero genre, right, when I can find something that's a little bit more grounded or gritty, and has a really good story, I tend to like that. Like I did like the Addiction comics. I have to read the second one, but the first one, how it starts out, like I really like the approach. I like the darkness to it and the uniqueness as far as like how her powers work. Um, so you know.
it's
Mhm.
cool. I told Vincent you should do it like darker, but
Mhm.
he was like, yeah. The original version of the addiction
Mhm.
was what I mean. First, it was a guy,
Mhm.
the lead character. It was a Nikki, but the guy had the same powers that Nikki, and it was much darker.
Mhm.
And then at some point, I told him you should bring back the original addiction as a like a I don't know, like a cameo or something like that, and make the whole story darker. But that's not like Vincent's personality. David Quinn, he can be really dark
Mhm.
because he was the writer of Faust. And if you maybe you're gonna like that book because that it's based on Faust, but it's extremely gore.
Mhm.
Uh, it's super like I love the story.
Mhm.
I really love the story. I was released in the 90s, so David can write really dark stories,
Mhm.
but I don't know if at some point they're gonna do something with the addiction and move into like a darker side.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean there are so many different things that can be done with the character and with the villains. Actually, Mr. Licorice, which is like the villain that
From the
his
Addiction.
first appearance.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's issue number two, I think, the first appearance of Mr. Licorice. So Mr. Licorice and Cat Noir, it's
Mhm.
basically Harley Quinn and the Joker. So that's the inspiration for those two characters. So so at some point, when Vincent asked me to do the cover for issue number three, uh, I was like, listen, I can make something resembling to the Joker, but like I didn't want to do that because it was gonna be like too rip off of those characters.
Mhm.
So I was like, why don't we do something completely different? I said, let's do something that And actually, when I told him this, he said, "No, you're wrong, because actually Marvel did a cover during the 90s, trying to replicate the Sports Illustrated cover with, I think it was She-Hulk. I cannot remember the character, but they tried to make like a Sports Illustrated cover with one of the Marvel's characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like trying to replicate a fashion magazine cover,
Mm-hmm.
because that's something that hasn't been done before.
Mm.
So he was like, well, but I don't know if people will like it. And I was like, listen, I'm more like an ink guy. I'm super old school when it comes to drawing. I love Steve Ditko. I love Neil Adams. So for me, inking is just the most beautiful, beautiful way of art when it comes to comic books. So I wanted to do something like that. And Vincent said, yeah, but that's too comic booky. And I was like, what the hell? It's a comic book. So so he was like, no, no, you have to do something like the other type of art that you do, because I want to do something like this. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so let's do this thing different. But I usually draw and paint, and now I'm gonna start putting out the other stuff that I've been painting, and those are really dark. They are
Mm.
super super dark. So I don't know how people are gonna react to those things, because it's a juxtaposition in between. You're gonna see the addiction cover, which is like super bright and fashion, and Nikki looks so beautiful and whatever, and then you're gonna see this like, because I try to show what is going on in society right now, but
Mm-hmm.
with fictional characters.
Yeah.
I started painting last night a piece related to Doctor Disrespect, and
Mm-hmm.
I do not know if I should put it out,
Oh
because
wow.
I'm gonna. No, no, no. There's nothing. No, I'm a dad, so I would never do anything. No,
Oh no no no
but
no. I'm
it's
not saying. I'm
basically
just wondering. Mm-hmm.
but it's basically commenting about all this like craziness that is going on with
Mm-hmm.
him. Uh, but we'll see what is going to happen. But for example, I have a piece which is a preacher, and I took the inspiration from Preacher from the comic book, but it's this like 1970s preacher outside a circus, and the circus is in flames, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone is like, it's like burning alive. So I don't know how people are gonna react about those pieces that I made before. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
see. I never made those pieces public, never, because I was just
Got it.
painting at home as a hobby. So
Hmm. That's actually a question that I wanted to ask you, right? Because I'm big into music, right? Like just because I'm a musician, right? So like a lot of times for me when it comes to like creating music and things like that, um, I draw a lot obviously from different art around me, right? Like that
yeah.
inspires me to create. When it comes to drawing or painting or anything in that type of realm, that's kind of like foreign to me, right? Because I don't have that ability or skill. But I assume that the same thing as far as like with inspiration is obviously the same, when it comes to physical form of art. So I wanted to ask you, like, what's some of the things that kind of like motivate you as an artist, or kind of like, or has motivated you, I should say, also too, as an artist, um, to either like do something different, or just or just get you in a specific zone.
So I don't know if you were present in one of the many BB spaces
Hmm.
that I was last year. But I remember in one space I talk about how I got to New York City,
Okay.
because I was born and raised in South America, in Chile, and I moved here 20 years ago.
Hmm.
But the way I ended up coming here, it's like a crazy story. It's super, super crazy, and it's related to the question that you're asking me now.
Okay.
So I was lucky enough to work with the creative director of the Ramones, the punk
Hmm.
rock band. So that's the reason why I moved to New York. So unfortunately, he passed away in 2013.
Hmm.
But throughout the years that I worked with him, he was first and foremost an artist, like
Hmm.
a old school. He was. he was really good friends with Andy Warhol, with Keith Haring, with Jean-Michel Basquiat, with Richard Hambleton, with all these like iconic Lower East Side New York artists. So I was working with him in consumer products for the Ramones. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, the Ramones at some point turned into a brand,
Earthbrand's
and then
clothing.
you started seeing many, many, many years ago all the Ramones T-shirts and the lunchboxes and the like whatever, the wallets and the baseball caps.
Mm-hmm.
So every single time that a company wanted to design something for, or sell something with the Ramones logo, they had to send the designs to him, and he was the one that approved the designs or not. And most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
he had to design, or he was hired by these companies to design the consumer products because he was the one that created the Ramones logo, the Ramones look, and everything. So,
Evidence all points to Clifford
so
Chance.
spending every single day with him, I learned so many things about art that I had no idea. Actually, I started painting again because of him.
Mm.
Uh, because at some point I was designing, but one thing is to design, another thing is to paint and draw.
Mm-hmm.
So one day he asked me, like, do you like to paint? Do you like to draw? And I was like, yeah, but I just do it whenever. Like, I just want to relax.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, can you show me something? So I showed him like a couple of things that I had at home, and he was like, why don't you like paint more? And I was like, because I don't have more time, and like I cannot keep like spending so much money because I used to go to Bleak, and Bleak was really expensive at the time. I don't know if right now it's still expensive, but it was really expensive to buy. I used to paint with oils, and then I moved to acrylics, but still acrylics were expensive at the time. So I was like, I cannot like keep wasting money on this, and then I'm gonna pile all the paintings, and what am I gonna do? And he was like, listen, like you're super talented, you should
Strange
paint,
about that.
and we should do something together. And I was like, no, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And where I learned from him, and that day he told me, he was like, I don't know how to paint, and I don't know how to
Last I
draw.
checked, everything was where it should be.
I'm basically a big collage artist, and that's how I've created all the things that I've done in my life. I
Mm-hmm.
wish I could
Any
draw
other
like a straight
relatives?
line. I
Guardsmen?
just cannot do it. But I try to get something positive out of my weaknesses,
Tell the truth.
and try to create a career based on that. So uh, when he started making art again, I saw his creative process, and it was crazy. It was crazy because he was telling me like I go outside for a walk and then I get my inspiration from the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so one day he found a silver dollar, those like big coins, and he put it on the palm of his hand and he took a picture. And then
Mm-hmm.
that picture, he turned it into a big painting and he made a series of those paintings. So
Mm.
that's how he used to create. So he taught me basically where to get inspiration, and he said, you're going to try to copy me because that's how human nature works. Because
Mm-hmm.
you spend so much time with me and you think that the things that I do are so cool that unconsciously you're going to try to copy me, which is not a bad thing, but you have to find your own style.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot live your whole life trying to copy other people. And I was like, no, I'm not trying to copy you, but he said like it's unconsciously. He copied many artists when he was younger.
Yeah.
So then in 2013 he passed away,
Mm.
and that's when I tried to find like my own style. Uh, I think for like a year and a half I kept doing art like similar to what he was doing, and then at some point I was like enough. I have to stop doing this, so I'm gonna move to something more like the street.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always loved like all these like newer street artists and where you have like mixed media with cartoons and pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
But everything has been done. So I was like, I don't want to start deconstructing cartoons and doing that. So what can I do? So I was like, I need to find like a specific technique that is unique to myself. And I did that with film. Um, just because filmmaking is so expensive, I started with stop motion animation.
Okay.
Because, like a lot of people say, stop motion animation is the poorest people filmmaking,
That's
which is not.
that's like what like with the clay, like what they would do with
Yeah, yeah, that's
clay.
claymation.
Yeah.
But basically, you take every frame. It's one picture.
Mhm.
So then you take the sequence of pictures and then you turn it into like a moving scene.
Yeah.
So it's really time consuming. It's a really lowly work, but it's fascinating. All the things that you can do. So the thing is, you know which camera to use. You know which software to use. Um, so how can you separate yourself from all the other people doing stop motion? So what I did was to find really old lenses for the cameras,
Mhm.
and then I modified the lenses. I found a tutorial on YouTube, and
Mhm.
I broke many lenses. I lost a lot of money, but at some point I was able to modify the lenses.
Oh. Uh-huh.
And every time I took a picture for the stop motion animations, they look like really, really old without, because I don't like to process anything in post production and digital when it comes to those type of things.
Mhm.
So I try to do everything on camera. So I achieve a really old school look and camera. And when I started putting out all those animations, like people were like, "How do you do that?" Not just because of the animation, it was more of the look. And this was before people started using VHS cameras and all equipment, which within the NFT art world, you're going to see a lot of people working with glitches and VHS cameras and a lot of like old equipment,
Mhm.
but this was way before that. So when I started doing that, I applied that same thinking into painting. I was like, I need to find a way where I can like hack the lens, in this case hack my painting, and make it look unique. It doesn't matter what am I going to paint, but the style has to be unique.
Mhm.
So I tried so many different things. Like trust me, I went through like every single style. I tried every single um, medium. And at some point I was like, okay, this is what I like. And I kept going. Now it's weird because my brain, like half of the day I'm thinking about cartoons, then the rest of the day I'm thinking about video games. I get
Mhm.
home and I start thinking about other things. So I cannot pick just one thing. So when I was living in South America, I was working in fashion, specifically jeans, denim. So I was so involved in that at some point in whatever I do for work, I
Mhm.
always tend to go to that area of my life.
Mm.
So that's what happened with the addiction cover. That for me was like easier to do that, not because of the technique or the execution of the piece. It was like it was easier for me to compose the whole cover.
Mhm.
But then when I finished that cover, I was like, I need to do something with inks. I was going crazy. So I started like drawing in Procreate in the iPad, like something completely different, and something crazy. But it depends on my mood.
Mhm.
And that's why I've never want. This is the first time that I've done something that someone asked me to do. I have never done commissions for anyone, and I'm not talking about design because I've been doing art direction for a really long time and designing. But when it comes to pure art, this is the first time that I've
Mhm.
done something for someone asking me a specific
How how
execution.
how is that like process in comparison?
It's crazy. It's crazy. First of all, because like think that I went to law school,
Mhm.
so I am an attorney that I'm doing all this stuff. So I would have never imagined that I was gonna end up having a cover on a comic book.
Yeah, that
It's
is super
insane.
different. Yeah.
That's crazy. So and also because when you are making anything creative, most of the people, and I include myself, uh, I think I'm not good enough. Like, why am
Mhm.
I doing this? Like, people will not like it. So you're constantly questioning yourself.
Yeah, second guessing
If
yourself.
you're, yeah, but at the end of the day, and it's the same thing that I was telling you about the YouTube channel,
Mhm.
that you will always find your audience. You're gonna
Right.
find people that will not like you. You're gonna find people that will love you, and those are the ones that are gonna stay with you.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, just gonna let it go, and at some point, someone, at least one person, I think it's gonna like this.
Mhm.
But it's the same thing that happens to writers, the writer's block. I was staring at the screen like forever, like
Mhm.
trying to figure out what to do. And then I grabbed a piece of paper and I was trying to do the composition. And just because it's a cover, I had to think about like where am I gonna put the logo? Where am I gonna put the number of the issue? Where the barcode is gonna go?
Mhm.
So all the things. So it took me, Jesus, I don't know. It took me like 3 weeks to get to like the final composition,
Mhm.
and then I did the sketch, and then the way, because I'm self-taught, so the way I paint is completely different than other people that were like formally trained. Uh, so I start painting in patches in different sections of the composition,
Mhm.
to get an idea. I do not use blue sketches behind, or doing it like in real life and then scanning, because it's much more difficult for me to paint. Now, I think I posted a video when I was painting the cover,
Mhm.
so you cannot notice what the hell am I painting, because I I I wear glasses all day. I cannot see anything, so I have to zoom in a lot. So when I'm painting like tiny, tiny, tiny. Like actually in that video, I'm painting a crevice of Mr. Licorice jacket.
Mhm.
So you can see like the shadows and the highlights in like a tiny crevice, and then I zoom out, and then it gets lost. So that's why, and Vincent, when he was at Heroes Con a couple of weeks ago, he showed the cover to, he told me a name, I forgot, but it's one of Marvel's artists. And he was saying that it looked like sculpted, like 3D. But the reason why, it's like for people that actually work on these and they paint covers and they do covers on a regular basis, they cannot spend so much time, because otherwise they would never make any
Never
money.
finish it. Yeah.
Yeah. So just because this is not my job, I took like 3 months to do this cover. So
Mhm.
every day I painted like a little bit. Um, that was my advance compared to other artists that they have to just grind like a lot of covers or pages like in a short amount of time. But it's it's crazy. It's seriously crazy. What I use as an inspiration for anything that I do,
Mhm.
it's previous experiences. I'm almost 48 years old, so when it comes to design or to filmmaking or to drawing or painting, I always go back in time and I
Mhm.
try to find something that is related to what I'm gonna do. And I
Mhm.
always try to find something that I can like break the mold and do something different than what everyone does.
Mhm.
So, so for example, we were gonna make at some point we were gonna do it when we launched the new Metropolis website, but it's a concept for an ad that has never been done in comic books, never,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be super shocking for people to see this ad. It's super simple. but the idea is extremely shocking.
Mm.
It has nothing to do with comic books. You're gonna see two comic books. That's the only thing related to comic books that you're gonna see on the ad. Everything else, it's completely like
And
foreign to comic book.
that's for the next issue.
No, no, no. This is for the launch of the new Metropolis website.
Oh, the website. Okay, oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. We're building now the new Metropolis website and the new Comic Connect website.
Okay.
So he
So,
really did tear him to
so
pieces.
for example, when my friend, the one that brought me
Not much
to New
left.
York, the creative
He just
director
wants
of
to drag the
Thermals,
shredded
Mhm.
body to the
one
woods.
day he said, "I want to open a record store,"
Mhm.
and I was like, "What the hell are you
Looks like
talking
blood,
about?"
but
He was like, "Yeah, I want to."
red
I'm
clay.
sorry. I want to open a record
Mecha
store,
warriors use this
but
clay
the
to
record
elevate
store
positional
is going to be
authority.
an art
Agility
installation.
hackers is sentient.
And I was like, okay, so where are you going to sell
Psychopathic
inside?
drug
And he was
sellers
like, I'm going to sell
travel far
records.
into the woods.
I was like, okay, so basically you're going to put a thrift store. And he was like, no. So he started putting together this whole idea, and we ended up doing it in Broadway.
Really good
He
place
like
to
a friend of
invest.
his let him use like a like a empty store,
Mhm.
and it lasted for a weekend. So what he did was to put together like a real record store, and he talked to all his artist friends, and he said, "Hey, can you make like a poster for a fake band? Hey, like his musician friends, do you think you can
Mhm.
record like a specific like album for this?" So what he did, which was insane, he bought on eBay. I don't know how many records, but I remember him getting boxes and boxes of records.
Mm.
So he took the records and he started painting the covers with black paint,
Mhm.
and he only left one word visible. So then he put all the records in these like record cradles that you had at
Hackers have developed a
old
real
record stores.
antitoxin.
And
Mhm.
when you
Use
started
it to
like
take a nest.
browsing the records, you started reading these single
Real
words,
waste.
and basically you were reading a poem that he wrote. So you had to go through every single record so you could read the whole poem.
Oh, that's interesting.
So so it was insane. He always came up with these crazy ideas that people
Uh
say,
huh.
"Oh, you're crazy," you're not. So that's what I try to do when I have to design something, when I have to paint something. I always try to do something completely different because
Mhm.
you have so many people doing
The
the
same
same thing
thing.
over
Yeah.
over and over again, and you have to always try to separate from the others. I'm not saying it's a bad thing,
Guess I got company.
but you have so many talented people right now that the
Yeah.
only way is to try to find like the difference that it's gonna either make you successful or just
Mhm.
one more of the group. So that can be applied with live streaming, with gaming, with everything. And that's where I was telling you that the most successful channels that I worked for,
Mhm.
they were successful because of the people that were in front of the camera, and not because they were super talented to be in front of the camera. It was because they were authentic,
Mhm.
and
It's
that's it. Because the biggest currency right now is authenticity. So
Yeah, it's so funny you mentioned about the guy that with the records. That's actually so because I mentioned I'm a musician, right? So I have a project that that I haven't released yet, but the entire project is songs that's strung together by a poem. So like each song is so think about it like this, right? Like think how like a musical is a movie with music in it, right?
yeah,
So this album is a poem with music in it that separates the lines of poetry.
yeah,
And all the music kind of like flows into each other because all the instrumentals they actually like bleed into each other. Like I use the same instruments going between, and it ultimately just tells a poem as it siphons through each song. So like I definitely get you in the aspect of trying to do something that's different, and I think that
that's
hasn't.
so cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I still haven't even released it yet. It's just, I'm winning. I don't know. I just have it. But that's like I think the thing that as an artist, right? And it was kind of a question I wanted to ask you too. Now that you're doing something that's more so like a commission based thing, because I was gonna ask you like, is this something that makes you happy? Because I feel like it can be either you know uh, something you may feel obligated to do, or it could be something that pushes you, right? Like
So
mhm
I know exactly what you're asking me.
mhm
So the reason why I've never done commissions, it's
mhm
because, and this is my personal opinion. So for
mhm
other people can be different, but when it comes to creative endeavors, I do not like when people tell me what to do.
yeah, same.
Uh, because like, why are you asking me to do something? You're asking me because like the way I design stuff. And this is something that most designers go through, and you can find so many memes on the internet, like the designer related, where they say like the client is telling you, can you move the font a little bit to the left? Then can you, instead of red, make it like green? So at the end of the day, the client is the one giving you the directions of how to design. So when you go to a doctor, you're not telling the doctor which medicine you should take. You just shut up and you listen what the doctor is telling you to do.
mhm
But in this case, for me, it's super complex. I had to do it because at some point I had to like pay bills and I had to shut up and just do whatever the client, when I was doing freelance work or when I was working for somebody else. I just had to suck it up and do whatever they were telling me to. But at the end of the day, I was miserable because I was
mhm
doing something that wasn't my creation and I didn't like it. So I was basically like the human tool that
Go,
was
go.
using a piece of software to come up with something that the client or my boss was asking me to do.
yeah
So, but in this case, uh, I told since the very beginning to Vincent, like, Vincent, I'll make the cover. I'll give it to you. I don't care. I mean, like, if I'm gonna spend some time painting, I would rather do something that like it's gonna help you, whatever. He was like, no, I'm gonna pay you. I was like, no, I don't want you to pay me because when you accept money, then at some point you're gonna get like, I think you should change this.
or move the
So
yeah
I didn't want to do that. So at some point when I showed him the
I had
final
a piece that was
piece,
troubling
he
you.
said, "What do you think about adding more candies? Because
That's
Mr.
useful
Licorice is
information
like
for my head.
candies."
mhm
So I was like,
Now,
I tried with
tell us,
candies. I tried many
what's
things.
most important?
I painted melting
Thousands of
candies
these
on the
things.
background. I put
You
up
know,
like
I
a
know that.
candy enamel pin
Nothing new did I learn
on
from
his
you.
jacket, trying
So,
to
what's
like
your
pay
right?
homage of
You're a reward.
the Watchmen, like the
Explanation.
smiley pin with the
Thanks.
drop
oh, the
of
It's
smiley
blood.
fine.
face, yeah
Yeah. Uh, but it didn't work. I tried everything and I was staring at my screen and I was like, no, I don't like it.
mhm
So I said, listen, if you don't like it, just because there's no like candies, it's fine. You don't need to use it at all. Like,
mhm
I'll keep it. I can, like, I'm happy. Like, it's fine. He was like, no, let me talk to David. And then he talked to David Quinn, his partner.
mhm
And then David loved it and he started showing it to other people and they were like, no, it's perfectly fine. So then he kept it. But in that conversation, I felt a little bit concerned because I really loved the cover, but I knew he wanted other elements that I knew that if I added those elements to the cover, I was not gonna
you're
like
not
it.
gonna like it anymore, yeah
So when it comes to these things, I would rather, like, for example, for Vivi Magic, I told her like last year that I was gonna do like a painting of one of her like the favorite Disney characters.
mhm
But again, I said it's gonna be my interpretation, so I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna give it to you. Like, feel free to do whatever you want to, but the only thing, please don't tell me how to do it.
yeah
But not because I'm trying to be an asshole. I'm not an asshole at all. But when it comes to these things,
mhm
it's super difficult. And it has happened. I've done so many things design wise in my life, and I never included those works in my portfolio because
Mm-hmm.
I'm embarrassed because there was somebody else that had no idea how to design that was telling me, I think you should do this. I think you should do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks terrible. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna forget about this and bye. So it's complicated. Now, if you say, can you do like the branding of my band or my company? That's much easier. It's still complex to deal with the client,
I think
but
because you're not as invested in it as opposed to like kind
yeah,
of like a original art piece that you're starting with.
yeah.
Because I guess even with the brand, you have to kind of, I guess, start with something there. Like, I guess maybe they may give you an idea or a kind of reference or something to represent their band, or I
Yeah,
mhm.
it's at least for me it's much easier to deal
Yeah.
with someone like giving me direction when it comes to branding. But when it comes to art, it's like, listen, just like I've been doing this like forever for myself.
Mhm.
So nobody has ever seen this. I don't care for people to see it. At some point, and the reason why I got into Web3 a couple of years ago, it was because since I've been collecting old computers, I did some art on my Commodore 64 computer.
Mhm.
And back in those years, I like, what are you going to do with digital art? Nothing. They were
Mhm.
like in the computer sitting there. And I never thought that at some point I was going to be able to do something with those files. So
Mhm.
then when Web3 showed up, I was like, oh my God, I have this stuff. And I noticed that people were super interested in like this glitch art. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put it out. And those were the two first collections that I released. Those are in pesos. They're still in pesos, but those pieces were made on a Commodore 64 computer.
Okay.
Um, and I'm sure a lot of people do not like them. But for me, that was one of my first approaches to art, especially
Mhm.
using computers. I had no idea what I was doing because basically what I was trying to do was to try to do a video game.
Mhm.
Since I didn't know how to code, I was like, okay, just going to try to paint the characters. And based on the limitations that the Commodore 64 had, uh, I started making like all these like crazy pixelated things, and that's it. And then I saved the files, and they ended up like being on object in Tesos now. But
Mhm.
that's another part that I really really love. And sometimes I question like should I keep painting like traditional painting, or should I go back to this more like um, Jesus generative art, like
Mhm.
like coding and so I don't know. It depends on the day and the mood. For
Mhm.
me, when it comes to Web3, art should be more of dynamic image and not images, like more like loops or animations.
Mhm.
Um, at least that's what I like when it comes to art in Web3, and I think that's the reason why also Viv is so successful with the collective. I'm not talking about the comic books. I'm talking about like the sculptors and the like all the like figures, animated
Yeah.
figures that
Yeah.
they put out. Because also you can just put them in front of you with AR.
Mhm.
So it's the same thing if you buy a piece of art in Web3 and you want to display the piece of art. Yeah, you can have like a static painting, and there are so many successful Web3 artists that they don't make any animations or loops or anything. They just paint. Uh, but but I've run into so many talented um, motion graphics artists, and the funny thing is that they work. Most of them they work in TV networks, and they do just traditional work, and they come to Web3 to do all the crazy things that they cannot do at work, which is
Mhm.
basically what happens to me when it comes to the things that I do after work.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I mean, every creative process it depends on the person and what is going on in their lives. Um, how life affected you, like the people that you've met through your life, uh, everything you've consumed, television, books, plays, countries that you visited, or different states, people that you've met, everything influences on the music you're creating, or the paintings, or the book that you're writing, because
Mm-hmm.
you write what you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you pour your experiences and the way you see life uh, in art.
Yeah.
So you will always see in the things that I make, there's always something related to my life. I always put something that it's related to my life. So
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. I think, like, for me, one of the biggest things why I tend to kind of like, I mean, I'll do certain things that people, may ask for me to do, like I give an example. Even with Max and Tasha, they're two people from like the VV fam. They
yeah,
asked me to do like their intro, and it's just like a mix of two songs together for their podcast that they have. But like, when they ask me, I tell them, I'm like, I don't really like it. Um, even though I'm the one that did it, right? The mix. But like sometimes, for me, like when I'm creating something, a lot of times I don't go in even knowing what I'm gonna write or what I'm gonna create. I kind of like put things together almost like a jigsaw puzzle, and a lot of times, even with writing, I don't even write linear. I may kind of like, take pieces here and then put that all together at the end to make like the finalized piece. And
yeah.
even with music like that too. So sometimes because of that, it's harder for me to have a certain, all right, I need to do this about this, by this time, because it might just not come out that way, or I might do a whole bunch of stuff and I'm like, all right, this wasn't, you know doesn't fall into this, so let
Uh,
me just save this to the side. And then, so yeah, I get it, I get it.
there's absolutely no right way to do art.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have standards. You don't have rules. Just this is something, and I know I always say this. One day, Arturo is the name of my friend, the one that used to work for the Ramones,
Mm-hmm.
and one day I asked him, "What's the real meaning of the word punk?" Because for me, coming from South America, being a punk was to be an anarchist, someone like that was like aggressive, and
Like
so
punk rock.
yeah, yeah. So just because he was there when punk rock was created, I was like, who better than him can tell me like the real definition?
Mm-hmm.
So he grabbed my notebook and he wrote on the cover of my notebook, do the best you can, any way you know how, with whatever you have, and never let anything or anybody stop you.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me the notebook and he said, listen, this is what punk means. And whoever follow this way of life, it's gonna be a like a punk person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized that, and it has nothing to do with music, with the way you dress. It's like a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, like for example, if you say, "Oh, I would like to do like a live stream," but I don't have like the great camera to like if you want to be on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we tend to look for limitations to not do things. Like we're always waiting, and I'm not saying everyone, but
like
at
like
least this happened
excuses.
to me. Yeah, excuses, and we say no. I'm gonna save money, and when I have enough money, I'm gonna buy a really good camera, and then I'm gonna start live streaming instead of start now with the camera that comes with the laptop, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, that's what he was telling me. It's like
Let's call it that.
uh, don't
Here
don't
goes.
use excuses. Just do the things you
Fine.
want to
See
do,
what I can do.
and
About to go.
fuck everyone else. Just
Oh,
don't care about
bullshit.
what people say. As
Thanks.
long as you're not doing anything wrong or attacking other people, just do whatever you want. But just do what makes you happy, because life is so short. Like I assume you're younger than me, but now that I'm almost 50 years old, I have a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day goes by super fast,
Yeah.
and it's really scary because I see like weeks goes by, and I'm getting older, and there are so many things that I would like to do. And then we waste time like thinking, should I do this? Should I put out this video? Should I paint this? And then you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be 85 years old. And you're going to
Mm-hmm.
say, fuck, I didn't do this. I don't have time. I would have loved to go, I don't know, to
The ice
like
don't
whatever
deceive me.
place.
You're the white wolf.
So,
Higher or
so
lower,
that's what he
visitor extraordinaire.
was trying to
Somebody's
tell
fed
me.
you a load of
And
Usually
that's
crap.
what
the
I've been
wolf has
trying
to
to
outline
do.
himself
As long as you don't
The
hurt
great
anybody,
bastard
just
died
do
already.
whatever makes you happy.
But
And
that's when
again, you
modern
will
people
always
lost their
find
moral
someone
balance.
that will
What makes you
like or
say I'm the
support
white
what
wolf?
you're doing when it
I
comes
hold
to
you in the
art.
great esteem in which I
Yeah.
And there
hold
are no
you.
rules, there are no
Art is never
standards. You're
achievements.
not going to find a book that is going to
You
teach you
should have
how to
told me
make art
exactly what
at
you think
all.
of his tales.
It would be a
So,
disgrace to censor
so
such an
don't
artist.
don't don't
You must
worry
sniff
about
my
those
trade.
things. No
You
matter how
appreciate
many
the
things
best
I'm
in
going to
my
tell
piece.
you because of the things that I've gone through, maybe
Not
they
so
can
good, Crafty.
inspire you, but uh, but I cannot give you like a guideline or how to create. That
Mm-hmm.
has to come from within yourself, and you have to just be honest and authentic, and everything else is gonna like fall in place by itself. That's how things work.
See ya.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna be successful as long as you do it because you really like it. And going back to what you asked me before, when it comes to do commissions, when it comes to art, and I'm getting money for that. I feel like obligated to do it, and at some point it's like I don't want to finish it
Mm-hmm.
because it's not something that like it's coming from like within myself. Something that I woke up one day and I was like, oh, I want to paint like I don't know, Doctor Disrespect doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so as long as you are happy and you're doing something that it's going to help you grow up as a person. Like, trust me, it's like 11:21. I wake up at 5 in the morning every single day, but I'm happy talking to you, and while I'm talking to you, I'm working. I'm editing a video,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm doing that because I love it and it makes me happy. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I would be in bed like sleeping right now.
I feel you. I feel you. And I think that like as an artist that comes from, you also just get a sense of fulfillment, right? Because you're creating something, and I think that's it also ties into the aspect of creating something that you want to do and having your creations be what you want them to be, right?
Yeah,
Because, even at the end of the day, I feel that like to a degree, like yes, as an artist, you do want people to connect with your stuff. You want people to like it, but still, like at the end of the day, I feel like if you're happy with it and it's complete to you, then that's the biggest thing. And maybe one day, some down the line, someone will get the picture or someone will see, what you were trying to say or what you were trying to do. And I was actually having this conversation with Ron English because I had him as a guest one time on one of the shows, and
hmm
I was telling him like one of my favorite writers just growing up, like studying, was Edgar Allan Poe. And I
yeah,
mean, not only because of his writing, I mean, his writing, was phenomenal, but also even just looking at, his
Come on,
the
come
way that he
closer.
lived, because he didn't really live with the fame that he has now, you know. During that
Damn
time, he
it.
really only had one successful hit, which was The Raven,
yeah.
and besides that, he didn't really get to live to see how profound, people later in history, viewed his writing to be. but he still left such an impact, you know? And that to me, as me kind of like putting myself in his mind as an artist, right? You have to have like an incredible love for what you do, or passion for what you do, or even just need or drive for what you do, to constantly keep creating and keep creating. Um,
Absolutely.
Even if others don't really appreciate it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And again, it's like, what's the point of doing all this if at the end of the day you're not happy? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. My mom has spent so many years knitting and painting, and I never understood when I was a kid. Like every time I walked by her room, my mom was knitting. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, why are you like every single day knitting? And she was like, because it makes me happy. And that's it. And I never understood when I was a kid. Now that I'm older, I understand why. Now, uh, she's 85 years old and she cannot knit anymore because she has, it's arteriosclerosis in Spanish. It's when your bones start getting like hollow, like
Mm-hmm.
sponges. So she has that issue. So she cannot knit anymore. So it sucks because that makes her happy and she cannot do it anymore. So so as long as you enjoy what you do, and again, it really doesn't matter. Some people like to, I don't know, fix cars. Other people
Mm-hmm.
like to just ride bicycles or play sports. It really doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like life goes by so fast, so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's really, it's terrible when you don't have like purpose. I understand we all have to work, we all have to pay bills, but we should try to have like some time to do other things
Yeah.
that make us like really happy. And it really doesn't matter what are you doing. If you like to collect things, if you like to take pictures, it really doesn't matter. But do something
Mm-hmm.
that makes you happy, and it's different than what you do like on a daily basis for work or whatever you do. That's my only advice, and it's because it happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really scary when you get older and then you say, oh my God, I've wasted all these years. Uh, I've been willing to do this specific thing. Why didn't I start doing it like, I don't know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And that's what I told, like, and I'm going to sound like, oh, I'm like 90 years old. No, but to younger people, like when I was younger, we didn't have internet. We didn't have all the technology that we have right now. So if we wanted to talk to someone, you had to grab the landline phone
Mm-hmm.
and just hope that the other person was gonna like pick up the phone. So that's number one. We didn't have internet, so we had to use like paper maps if we wanted to get somewhere. Uh, if you needed information about a specific topic, you had to go to a library or just go to a book and hope that you were gonna find the answer
Mm-hmm.
you were looking for.
Times are
Uh,
nice.
you wanted to have like your own radio show, you had to go to school and then hope that you were going to hire a radio station. Now you can have your own radio show, you can have your own TV show on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. Like everything is there. So now younger generations have absolutely everything to be successful.
That's true.
Uh, so those are the things that I keep thinking. It's like I'm getting older, and I wish I could have more time to take advantage of all these amazing things that have been created in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm
so and
I'm glad
yeah,
that
no,
you're.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm glad that you're doing that with the podcast, because that's I mean that's exactly what this is, right? What I'm doing right now, because I always wanted to stream. I've been doing stuff on Spaces, but now that we have the visual element and stuff like that, where you can, have a visual component to it, um, I've been loving it. Just kind of like setting up my own, streams, and managing it that way, and even getting creative with it, like kind of like finding ways to integrate things, like like even this whole situation of us, all right, with us talking on X, but it being a part of the stream, that's going to YouTube and going to Twitch. I had to figure that out, and, and a lot of that was like
Yeah,
just creative thinking, to try and figure out how that's gonna work. But that's fun, and I'm glad that that you're setting together your podcast to have some time for you to kind of just do things that you're passionate about.
yeah. No, no. I'm really, really happy. I had to wait like a couple of months just because of work, but thank God. And also I was going through like a couple of like personal things, but now
Yeah.
everything is fine. So I'm really happy because and this is something that uh, it was one of those limitations or excuses that I used a while ago when I go to the United States.
Mhm.
I went all my life living in South America to a British school.
Mhm.
So I was taught all my life English, but when you live in a country that only speaks Spanish,
Mhm.
no matter how many hours of English you have at school, you will never speak like the proper English if you do not live in a like a place where everyone speaks English. So the thing is, when I moved already old to the United States, so
Mhm.
the older you get, the more difficult it is to change because don't forget that the tongue is a muscle. So when you speak Spanish, like we roll the R's.
Mhm.
So there are many things that after living 20 years here, I still have like this terrible accent, and I still think in Spanish, and I translate into English. So sometimes I speak like Yoda, and I
Mhm.
speak like backwards and say
Mhm.
whatever. But at the very beginning, I was terrified to do anything public because I thought like people were gonna make fun of me because of the way I speak English.
Mhm.
And then one day, an ex-girlfriend actually told me that I should not be worried about that because at least I can speak two languages.
Yeah.
And she was using herself as an example. And she was like, I only know how to speak in English.
Mhm.
So she was like, I can understand you. So as long as people can understand what you're saying, like it's fine.
Mhm.
So it took some time, and it's really strange for me to listen to myself in the show. I have to do it because I'm the one editing the show.
Mhm.
I do not like it, but that's something that I have to deal with. And at some point, I was like, okay, enough. Like people, but the people that know me, they know that like I'm not doing it on purpose. So
Mhm.
or whatever. So and it's funny. I mean, sometimes I say like really stupid things just because like for example with the Z, I pronounce the S, the C, and the Z in the exact same way.
Mhm.
So sometimes, like I pronounce some words and they sound a completely different word. So sometimes I've been into like really funny situations because of that. But other than that, like, listen, it makes me happy to do these things,
Mhm.
and there's absolutely nothing I can do. Like, I'm not going to be taking classes to try to fix my accent because, like, no,
Yeah.
whatever.
I
So
mean, I don't. I mean, I don't think you need to. Like, I mean, your accent. I understand you perfectly, and then even still, like, and maybe also too because I'm from like, I'm from Jersey, right? So you have very a lot of diversity in this tri-state area. So you hear
yeah,
like almost everyone you run into pretty much almost has an accent because
yeah.
you have so you get used to hearing different accents. But I mean, I don't. I think sometimes when and you know what, I don't speak multiple languages, so I wish I did. But I think sometimes we could be our worst critic or our hardest critic. Um, but for me, when I hear people with an accent, I don't really think anything of it. Like I just you know.
Well, thank you for that. That's one of my pet peeves that I have
Mhm.
always concerned about. about that. But it seems that it's getting better. So at least, but we all have got that kind of like thing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm super confident for other things, but when it comes to this thing, I'm super conscious about
Yeah.
like I'm always thinking if people actually can understand what I'm saying. Uh, but but again, like I always go back to what this friend of mine told me. Like just do the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the best that I can do. Like I wish every single time that I see Pedro Pascal, because Pedro
Mm-hmm.
Pascal was born in Chile, in my country. But the difference is that Pedro Pascal moved to the United States when he was much younger. He was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he sounds, maybe he has a little bit of accent, but he sounds like super American. He doesn't sound like me. But when he speaks Chilean, I mean Spanish, but with the Chilean accent, he sounds like someone that has been living in Chile forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy. He has the proper Chilean accent, but he speaks perfectly fine
You can
English.
switch it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish I could do that. I don't know. My aunt has been living here since the 60s, and she has a like a worse accent than me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It depends on the person. I have no idea.
See,
Uh,
and I envy actors that can do a really good accent, right? Like,
yeah,
you know how you have a lot of actors from the UK that you don't even know they're
yeah.
from the UK because
No,
they
it's
speak
crazy. It's
like an
crazy.
American accent so well.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
I wish I
it's
could do
crazy.
that. Yeah.
No, it's crazy. But yeah. So those are the kind of things that like if you can like once you're done live streaming, just sit down and go through all these things, and you're gonna see like sometimes we think that life it's so hard. Life is hard and it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that, but sometimes we magnify things more than we should. Uh, and there are only two things in life that do not have like solution, which is death and taxes. Everything
Mm-hmm.
else have solutions for everything. Harder solutions for some situations, easier solutions for other ones, but there's always a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so as long as we are happy and we can have like a good life when it comes to do what we love, uh, even if we have to work, and I'm not saying it in my case, but a lot of people have to just do work on something that they don't like
Mm-hmm.
because we all have to pay bills and everything. But as long as like after work we can dedicate a couple of minutes to do what we love,
Yeah,
then like our quality of life is going to improve like
that's true.
in a lot. So I think I'm gonna bounce because I have to sleep and it's gonna be well we're like super close, so it's
Mm-hmm.
almost midnight. So I have to get ready and I'm gonna go
No
to bed.
worries,
But
man.
I'm gonna be on Thursday on the show, and thank you so much. This was I wasn't expecting we were gonna end up talking about all this, but
I hope
I'm
I didn't distract you. I know you had work to do and
no
stuff like
no
that.
no 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 no. I was editing. Meanwhile, I was talking to you, and it
Okay.
was just amazing. I really miss to be on spaces with all of you. So now that I have the chance, I'm more than happy to join every time that I'm at home. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me. And I'm gonna see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tomorrow for
tomorrow. It's
sure. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I'm gonna be there for the comic show.
I DM'd. Did you get the DM? Did it go through okay?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
it.
All right.
Yes, I got it.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow.
You too. Take care.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye. All right. Where is the next thing? All right. It's telling me I need to explore, but explore what? I found the. Oh wait. You know what? Maybe I should have read that. Hold on. Let me go back to the Journal entry. Books. Lighthouse Keeper. Got work for you. Ship going on sale. Forward at midnight. Just put the light in the lighthouse and keep it dark until fine. With our torch, we'll split the loot the same. You get a 10 till we meet again. I gotta do something at midnight. Alright, let's save just in case a monster pops up. Alright, appreciate everyone that's in the chat. That was dope. We had Mondo come and talk art for a bit. I love talking with and I see you, Omar. What's good, Omar? I love talking art with just artists. A lot of times, you know, we see the byproduct, you know, as far as the end result. But there's a lot, you know, that takes artists to get there, you know, to that point, behind inspiration or motivation, things like that. So I always like kind of like having a discussion. Yo, what am I?
Looks like rain.
Do I do an Igni on this? Okay, that didn't do anything. I'm confused. Maybe I need to search the outside. Or, hold on, explore the lighthouse using your Witcher senses. I did that. And then I got the thing. Hold on, quest items. Save conduct to others. Short letter. Eternal fire. Letter found on Joris. Alright, so this is letter to Lighthouse Keeper, got work for you. It's going to sale. Midnight, you're gonna put out the fire in the lighthouse and keep it dark until we give you the signal with our torch. We'll split the loot, same as always. We get a tenth of whatever we see tossed to shore. Wait, so I gotta look for someone to send a signal? I don't even see anyone. Alright, let me go back down. Oh wait, hold on. What is this?
Symbols of a bonding. Manifestations of ill will. Focused, concentrated. So it's a curse. A curse that keeps the specters here. A penitent. Good thing it hasn't appeared to me yet. Couldn't possibly kill it in this mist and darkness. Need that lighthouse working again. If Mikyol's the cursed one, the curse binds him to this place. He's the only one who can light the fire that'll break the curse.
So that letter that I found was pretty much pointless. Okay.
How long you gonna make me
Those
wait?
stupid specters. Is that it? Yeah. What is the steel weapon? Oh, the silver one is to the right. Okay. This is house.
Phew. It's just you. Learn anything?
Island's haunted by a penitent. Spectre punishes the guilty for crimes, foul deeds. Like luring ships onto the rocks, then looting the wrecks. Don't deny it. I found the letter.
Longboats sink every so often anyway. That's the sea, that's its nature. They sink near the isle, at least the cargo don't go to waste.
We'll come back to that later. Just now, I need your help.
But what? I'm no warrior.
Guessed that already. But a curse grips both you and this place, and only you can lift it. Luckily, all you gotta do is light the fire in the lighthouse. Penitent's invincible as long as darkness covers the island.
Yo, Geralt about to get him killed,
I
man.
can't go outside.
I
It'll
don't know
kill
how
me.
many people.
I can
Yo,
feel
I
it.
don't know how many people I got killed
I'll
being
escort
Geralt.
you. Now, no excuses. Grab some oil and let's
He's
go
putting everybody in
before I
danger.
change my mind.
Look! There! It's him!
I see it. Now shut your mouth and go light the fire. Remember, you fail, the penitent will kill me, then come for you. Hurry up.
How do
Don't
I
know
kill
how much
this
longer I
thing?
can manage this.
Oh, great. It don't do no damage. Oh, snap.
What? Lost your nerve?
Yo, there's a whole bunch of them? Shit. Yo, this is OD. Yo, he called. No, this is OD.
Shit.
Oh. And I don't got no more health either? Dang. I can't even, like, kill this dude. Oh wait, his health is going down. Alright, let's try this again. Let's try running through this again. I wanna get this before I close up for the night. And I think that'll take care of all my my contracts. I think so. Well, not all the contracts that I plan on doing right now, because some of the contracts are higher level.
Good thing it hasn't appeared to me yet. Couldn't possibly kill it in this
Dang,
misty
I
darkness.
gotta run all the way
Need that
back to
lighthouse
it.
working again. If Mikhail's the cursed one,
Alright,
the curse binds him to this place.
let me
He's the
save
only one who can
before
light the fire that'll break the curse.
Is that another, I'm just gonna ignore you. And I think I'm actually going to, do I have enough, swallow? Let me see. Three, for full health. Alright. Let's save here. And yo, do I have anything on my let me check and see if there's anything he's weak to. If they have it. Cursed ones. No. Grids. Specters. This is it, right? Yeah. So he's weak to moon dust, which I don't have. Spectre oil. Yarden. When do I got spectre oil? Oh snap! My power is about to go out. Is it storming? Oh yeah, lightning. All right. Spectre oil, beast oil, cursed oil, necrophage oil. Great, the oil that I need don't have. All right, let's just go.
Phew. It's just you. Learn anything?
Island's haunted by a penitent. Spectre punishes the guilty for crimes, foul deeds. Like luring ships onto the rocks, then looting the wrecks. Don't deny it. I found the letter.
Longboats sink every so often anyway. That's the sea, that's its nature. They sink near the isle, at least the cargo don't go to waste.
We'll come back to that later. Just now, I need your help.
But what? I'm no warrior.
Guessed that already. But a curse grips both you and this place, and only you can lift it. Luckily, all you gotta do is light the fire in the lighthouse. Penitent's invincible as long as darkness covers the island.
I can't go outside. It'll kill me. I can feel it. Perhaps you could...
I'll escort you. Now, no excuses. Grab some oil and let's go, before I change my mind.
Alright, here we go. Let's try this again.
Look! There! It's him!
I see it. Now shut your mouth and go light the fire. Remember, you fail, the penitent will kill me, and come for you. Hurry up. Don't know how much longer I can manage this.
I gotta wait until... How do I know when he lights the fire? Okay, yo, come on.
What now, you piece of filth?
Yo, let's get him. Let's get him. Let's get him. Where's the other dude? Hold on. Alright.
Light, finally. Time to get this done.
Yo, come on. Come in a circle. Yo, are you serious? Yo.
Time to end this.
Did I get rid of him? I think so. Dang, yo, that was mad close too. Alright, we're gonna take all of that. All that. Did I look? Did the other thing drop anything? Oh.
Did it work?
It did, but that doesn't make the island safe. Because you're still here. A lightkeeper who lures ships onto the rocks. Sheesh.
I made a mistake. I know this now. Swear by Frey and all the gods, never again.
Nah, you gotta leave, bro.
Absolutely never. Soon as we're done talking, you're gonna pack up and leave. For good. Understand?
But I understand.
Yay. Let me save. And I'll go get my reward. Is there a fast travel? Let's see, let's see. Oh, right there. Definitely about to use that. Oh, I'm on level 23. Here we go. The heck is that? Is that a bear? Oh snap, I need to meditate, bro. I'm about to die from just toxicity. Alright, there we go.
Aye, Geralt.
I killed the monster from the lighthouse. It was a penitent, very dangerous specter, and very rare.
Why did it ever appear on Eldberg? It's been a peaceful island always. Even sirens haven't nested there.
Someone committed a crime there, did something terrible. Long story short, you'll need a new lightkeeper. Never mind that. Let's talk about my reward.
Aye, yes, got it right here. Earned every last coin you did. And a round. Cheers to your health.
So long.
Alright. So that, oh, there's one more contract. Talk to witness. Says encounter attacks. I'm good with that. And then next one is the main quest. Alright, so I'll probably do this with your contract next time. I don't think I have any. Read the journal. Telling about the sword name. Learn about a sword. Use journal. Oh wait, is this the one about the sword? Wait, no, this is, yeah, this is it. What was lying right in front of you? Now you've got to sell the blade. Oh, Fortress and Firstdale. Alright, well. Yo, why does my light keep flickering? Track down the thieves. That's level 4. Oh, okay. So that unlocked that. And then the thieves. Right, I should be doing this. Yeah. Wait, what? Oh, okay. And they are over here. So I just gotta track them down. This seems simple enough. But I'm gonna save, and I've been streaming for a bit now, so what is it, like 3 hours now? Coming up on? I think so. How many people we got here? 48. Oh, that's what's up, yo. And we had some reposts today too. Shout out Steve and shout out Cointech for the reposts. And who else? And we got some likes. Yeah, man, this was it's a dope conversation. Shout out Mondo for coming through and chatting for a bit. Um, just sharing a little backstory. So, we'll have him again later, technically today, because it is midnight now. So later today for the comic shop. Uh, we'll be reviewing Ultimate X-Men #1 by Peach Momoko with our special guest John. And it'll be dope to have Mondos come through for a bit and share some of his expertise in this comic review. Maybe we'll get a review score from Mondo also. But I do want to say appreciate everyone that came through for the stream today. Hope you guys enjoyed. And, I'll try to do this as often as I can. I know these like impromptu streams, I do them when they can, but you guys know, if you look at my schedule, you can see that, I have back at the class on Sundays, and I have the comic shop on Thursdays, 7 p.m., and back to class Sunday at 5 p.m. So those are the scheduled ones, and outside of that, I'll just be popping on whenever I can. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Collectors Going Digital. I see he set up his Twitch and just gave me a follow. That's what's up, bro. I definitely tuned in for a bit for your Fortnite thing, but we will definitely get some gaming sessions to do together. Let me see who's online. Can I raid to anybody? Nah, no one that I follow is online. All right. Well, once again, appreciate everyone for coming through for the stream. Hope y'all had a good time, and I will be back at it later today at 7 p.m. for the comic shop, where we'll be reviewing the comic. So, thank you once again, and everyone, take care. Have a good night. Peace.